Joining us now from New York, Ed Rollins. He's a Fox News contributor. And also from New York, John Hlinko. He's a Democratic consultant. All right, gentlemen, so this made some buzz overnight and, of course, at the press conference today. Ed, I want to start with you. I'm having a little trouble following this argument. Romney might have been good at maximizing investor profit at Bain, but because he was good at that, we should still kind of distrust what he'll do in running the economy. Is that a strong argument?
No, it's an absurd argument, and I just see the president's comments there about his job is to look out for all the people. Well, look out for all the people is how you carefully spend their money and how you basically reset priorities for this country, which he's not done. Mr. Romney had a tremendous career, a 20-year career. He created jobs. He basically invested other people's money. Bain Capital was a stronger company. He started it. By the time he was finished with it, it's still going on, and it's done some wonderful things. He also had a great career as a governor and other things. All of that's going to be fair game because this is a president that can't run on his record. There's no way he can put up the slogan that I used for Ronald Reagan in 1984, leadership that's working. So I think what he's got to do is he's got to make this premise, you think I'm bad, look at the other guys, and that's not going to work.
John, let's go to you on this because, look, a lot of the Democrats out there who've been involved in this debate at one time or another either had a fundraiser with someone who was in private equity, met somebody in private equity, got to be friends with them. And private equity is connected, right, to both political parties. The president himself, of course, Schwartzman of the Blackstone Group, been a big fundraiser for this president. How does this argument really hold very long?
Well, I mean, private equity is fine if your goal is to maximize wealth. I mean, it is one way of doing that. And I think what Mitt Romney did at Bain was to make a lot of wealthy people wealthier at the expense of a lot of jobs. And I have no doubt he would do that for America as well as president.
Well, I think the bottom line is in order to get people to invest money, whether it's John's money or my money or your money, you basically have to get a minimum profit back. That's what this country's about. That's what capitalism is about. And I think this whole administration needs to go take an Econ 101 class. They're very good at basically playing Robin Hood politics. Let's take from the rich, give to the poor. The president talks about that all the time, and that's not what's going to create jobs and make this country strong again.
But remember,
John, hold on a second. John, I tweeted about this earlier today. If the president had been in private equity, I think you could argue that we might know how we would have done in private equity, and I would say probably not as well as Romney because he did his own version of private equity, but with the taxpayers' money, right, on Solyndra, Light Squared, other solar projects that haven't really panned out. So don't we want to maximize the return for the taxpayers? And has he done a really good job at that while president?
Oh, he's done a great job. I mean, the last month of the Bush administration, we lost 741,000 jobs. Now we're gaining jobs, not as quickly as we'd like, but we're a heck of a lot better than we would have been. I mean, we could have had a second Great Depression. So, how he did in private equity, that's one question. How he did for the country as a whole, well, we're a heck of a lot better off than we would have been had Bush's tenure continued.
Well, but Ed, clearly they rolled back somewhat Cory Booker's nauseating comment, although he doesn't disavow it in that longer 4-minute video. He certainly tried to soften his position yesterday. Of course, a Democrat, very effective surrogate for this president. So does that kind of take away the sting of the nauseated remarks from Sunday, or does that linger?
No, I think, first of all, you've had two very smart guys, he and former Senator Ford, who both come out and basically said you need private equity. Private equity is pension funds, unions invest in them, all sorts of things occur. And if you want to get America working again, you need capital. And the way you get capital is you basically have good investments and you basically make profits, minimal profits or real profits, depending on where you want to invest your money. That's the only way you create jobs. We just can't live in this environment where everything is going to be more government jobs, more government jobs, more government jobs. And if you look at this president's record, that's what he's done. He wants to raise taxes to pay for it. He's run up record deficits. He'll continue to run up record deficits. And I think to a certain extent, when you look across this country, a lot of people hurting, a lot of people without much hope.
John, do you think the metric of are you better off than you were 3.5 years ago, do you think that's a valid metric?
I think it's a fine metric. And remember where we were 3.5 years ago. I mean, we were going off a cliff. 741,000 jobs lost the last month. If that trend had continued from the Bush's last month, we'd have 27% unemployment right now. I mean, that's frightening. We could have had a second Great Depression. So are things great? No, but could they be worse? Heck yeah.
So when people respond to that question now, and they pretty much overwhelmingly say the country's going in the wrong direction, Are they just wrong? They don't understand how much better things have gotten? Because I think they're looking at their paychecks. Yeah. They're looking at, future debt levels on their children, debt burden on their children and their children. And they're very worried. I mean, I don't think this is a political issue, really. I mean, I know it's a political year. People are really freaking out about how we're going to be able to pay off this debt in the future. And that's a metric, I think, that the president himself set for himself. If unemployment isn't lower, I shouldn't be reelected. If we haven't been able to tackle these big problems, I shouldn't be reelected. And yet we want to change the goalposts now because that's not really redounding to the president's benefit.
Well, I think there's no doubt about it. People are hurting. Unemployment is still too high. I mean, there's no doubt things should be a lot better. But, when it comes to the deficit and the debt, remember, Mitt Romney's plan increases the debt. And Barack Obama starts to reduce it as a percentage of GDP over time. And let's also remember that under President Clinton, we had record surpluses, and under President Bush, we doubled the national debt and went to record deficits. So look, I'm not saying there's not enough blame to go around, but things compared to where they were or where they could be are a heck of a lot better. Are people happy? Should they be happy? No. We have a long way to go.
So the premise of this campaign is he says things were worse and they're better. I say things are worse and they could have been much better if you had a different economic plan.
All right, gentlemen, thanks so much. And